This is Jacob. I'm one of the Jacob Vosmar. I'm one of the maintainers of GitLab Development Kit. And in this video, I want to show you a new experimental feature we're going to launch as a sort of beta for that has an impact on the way you use GitLab Development Kit. So I want to show you how it works, so people can start using this as a beta, and we can get feedback on how it works, how people like it. So what is the change we're making? We're trying to replace Foreman with Runit. And these are both two process supervision systems, and we've been using Foreman since forever. And there are just some things that keep not working smoothly with Foreman, and I'm hoping that with Runit things will be better. And well, we can only find out by trying it, so that's why we're trying to launch this as a beta. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about GDK Run. GDK Run starts Foreman. So Foreman is this thing with all the colors. Now, this is actually already a great example of what's what's wrong with Foreman, because we're getting an error here from Webpack. Address already in use. So let's see why that is. The problem is that there is these node processes. What are these processes? I also want to see how old they are. So these have been running for 4 hours, and I'm not running GDK Run, so what are these processes doing here? This is unplanned, but this is exactly the problem that we're talking about. The problem is that Foreman does not protect you against running the same process more than once, and it can sometimes fail to shut things down when you're shutting Foreman down with Control-C. Let me just try and get rid of this these two processes. Are they gone now? Yes, they're gone. So now if I do GDK Run, then GitLab Development Kit GDK is booting, and I can go to localhost 3000 and I get connection refused because booting the Rails application takes a while. Okay, so let's start again. This is GDK Run. You know this. This is the way you run GitLab in development. Now suppose I create a new terminal window and I do GDK Run again. Then I get a bunch of weird errors and the whole thing shuts down. This is kind of okay because you get... Well, it's okay if you know what the problem is. Right now I know what the problem is. I'm running one over here. And by the way, that thing is now... Oh, it's still booting. Why is this so slow? Well, it's just slow. There we go. No such file or directory. Redis. That's also not good. Oh, well, the examples just keep coming. Why is Redis now broken? Because in this terminal I started GDK Run and the Redis socket got deleted by the new Redis server we were booting. But now this old Redis server no longer has a listening Unix socket, so it can't be reached anymore. So this Foreman is now also broken. And there's a whole bunch of problems like this. The worst one, I'm going to regret this, the worst one is if you do GDK Run and then you close the terminal, because now actually I can still reach localhost 3000. And if I look for GitLab Development Kit, bit args. If we do this, then okay, ignore these guys. We see a whole bunch of leftover processes that all are attached to that one. What is that? think I remember where this goes. So I just closed that terminal window. My point is things are now broken because if I do GDK run, it crashes. And it crashes because all GDK stuff is still running, even though my terminal is gone. And how do I get rid of it now? And this is a total pain. The only way I know to do this is to just stop things one at a time. See how far we get now. GitLab Pages is broken. GitLab Pages. Now I no longer get an error from GitLab Pages. I get an error from SSHD. We're still crashing. And now I get an error from Gitly. And this is ridiculous because I know how to do this, but if the average developer should not know how to do this and diagnose these errors. I think we're actually booting now, except Webpack is broken, or kind of broken, because this thing can't grab a port. So let's do a pkill nodes. I think we're now kind of sort of starting up, although I wouldn't be surprised if there is still a sidekick somewhere. Yes, there is. Yeah, what is that doing there? Go away. And there probably is also still a Puma. Yes, there is. And again, I want that to go away. So I think maybe now I've recovered from closing that one terminal window. So this is a horrible mess. And this is the main problem I see with Foreman, that if you use it correctly, everything is fine. But if you do something wrong, you're left with these dangling processes. They get in the way. And it is, you need, it shouldn't be so hard to recover from that. And what we want to do about that is that we want to use a different system from Foreman called Runit. And we're launching this side by side. It's behind a feature flag. The feature flag is called GDK Runit. So let me just set that. And now GDK Run is broken because we're using Runit. And so, okay, we're using Runit, and there are 3 commands you need to know. The first is GDK start, and this is now going to start everything. Now the first interesting thing here is that I can close this terminal window, and I can say GDK status, and oh, it forgot, haha, it forgot my the feature flag, the environment variable. So let's see, bash rc. Is there anything embarrassing in here? I hope not. Nah, doesn't look too embarrassing. GDK Runit equals 1. Let's create a new terminal. GDK status. It's working. And notice that I've closed 2 terminals by now, and this thing is still there. So, okay, if I go here, I can hit refresh, and GitLab is actually running, but where are my fancy colors and my log output? So this is the other thing that's different. You have GDK start, and the other command you want to know is GDK tail. And this will tail the logs. If I log in here now, then we can see that stuff is happening in the logs. Eventually, it's a little slow. Yes. So this is why I'm recording this video, because the workflow is different. You have the start command. You also have a stop command. I can do something like I can say I just stop one thing. So now everything is running, but Gitly is down. And If I refresh here, I'm going to get a bunch of errors. No, I don't. What happens here? Oh, error 503. But now I can start Gitly again. And it's going to load. It's still booting. It's back. So one thing you gain here, besides being able to shut down terminals and still do stuff, is that you can start and stop individual services. This was very awkward with Foreman, and it's very natural with GDK start and GDK stop. We also made a GDK restart in case you want to restart stuff for whatever reason. If I restart Postgres, then I can just do that. And Postgres starts up very quickly, so we don't really notice this. And the other thing we can do is that, so with GDK till you can see everything, all your log output, which is a bit like what Foreman does, but you can also filter it down to one service. So here's Postgres, and if I do a restart, you can see that it just did stuff. Let me do that again. There you go. So you can filter your logs much more easily than you could with GDK Run. And what else do I want to show here? Yeah, so that's how it works. It's a different workflow. You have to get used to. So with GDK Run, you have starting and seeing the logs is the same thing. Here it's two separate things, so you have to remember that. Also, if I close this terminal window, localhost 3000 is still there, so it is less obvious that this thing is running. But the good news is that if you just create a new terminal and go to your GitLab development kit, you can pick right up where you left off, and the whole thing is still running, and you can also stop it if you want to stop it. Now the last thing that is worth demonstrating is that maybe you don't like this, maybe there's a bug, you want to go back to using GDK Run, fine, go for it. How do you do that? So first of all, you need to edit your bashrc and take out that environment variable. So that's now gone. The other thing you need to do is stop, make sure GDK is stopped with the Runit, and then you're good. So now if I create a new terminal, then I can do GDK run again, and I'm back in the old world of using Foreman. Now, one thing that's interesting, perhaps, is that Runit keeps running even when after you run GDK stop. So Runit creates a process called run as feeder, and if we look at that process, we see that it has a bunch of child processes called run sv and sv logd, and it is one pair for every service that is being managed by GDK. And if you would have installed GDK in multiple directories, then you would have one run as feeder per GDK installation. And these can run next to each other and they don't bite each other. And the idea is that even if you stop GDK, these things keep running. And it doesn't add a lot of overhead because if, let's see, if we look at the RSS of these things, RSS, args, pgrep, run sv. So these things use about 500, 600 kilobytes of RAM each, and you have about a dozen. And the same goes for these sv logds. So in total, we're looking at less than 20 megabytes of overhead for keeping this stuff running. So usually you just want to keep this running and not worry about it. 20 megabytes is nothing compared to the hundreds of megabytes you need to run the actual GitLab application. But if you do want to get rid of this, run its background infrastructure, that's possible. Make sure you run GDK stop first because, okay, I can't do that, but because I just edited the bash RC. You can do it now. Make sure you run GDK stop first, because otherwise, if you shut down run as feeder, you're left with all these dangling services and the same mess I was showing at the start of the video. And now you can run pkill hub run as feeder, and now it is gone. If I look for run as feed, there's nothing anymore, and it's off. That's it. So if you want to try this, put GDK Runit equals 1 in your bash RC. Stop using GDK run, start using GDK start, stop, and tail. And that's and GDK status and restart. So that's the short of it. I hope this makes things clearer, and thanks for watching.